Okay, thank you everyone for coming to the meeting this evening. We are going to start with the approval of the June commission meeting minutes. So. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed?
Anybody opposing? Okay, so we will accept the minutes as.
Yeah.
We gotta get a regatta. Right.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that brings us to you, Jack Schoonmaker.
Lindsay had asked a while back if I could attend one of your meetings and bring you up to speed with where we are with the Deet Stadium project. I came on board with the city in March. I have 40 years of experience in architecture. Worked for actually in 40 years, I only worked for 2 different architectural firms and did a lot of work here in the area. One of the names you might have recognized is Joe Hurwitz. He did some city work and so forth. I was part of the environmental review process for the old Sailors Cove that was going to go down at the Brickyard. And then from there, I went up to the Bel Air Resort at Catskill Park and became the architectural project manager to try and get that development through its processes and actually try to start construction. But we got all of our permits, took us 17 years. And then COVID came, shut everything down, and I got furloughed and said, well, I need to work. Found the job here at the city. Very excited to be able to produce and be productive here in my home, born and raised here. My son is 11th generation Kingstonian, and we're proud to be here. So, on with the show. There we go. Now we get started.
That was quick.
There we go. Well done. Thanks for coming. So, as you see here, it's public meetings, project public meetings. The last PAC meeting we had was on April 26, 2022. There hadn't been one in almost a year and a half prior to that. Maureen has joined our PAC and has become one of our public advisors. We brought her up to speed then, so some of this is going to look familiar. I'm not going to bore you with all 88 slides that were at that meeting, but at least we'll share where we're at. So the Andretta pool upgrades, the roof replacement, the pool itself, and the splash pad and fencing has all been completed as part of phase 1. That's done. The pool is now open this season, and they're all loving it. The kids are enjoying the splash pad, and as soon as we shut down the pool in August, we'll go into the interior pool house upgrades. But just to show you what has been done, that was the roof before repairs. Conditions around the building were getting pretty sad. And that's what she looks like now. Roof's been all repaired, the masonry's been all touched up, painting's been done. There's our new roof. And then the pool was totally relined, all new pool, all new plumbing and equipment, all new filters, sump pumps, the bit. It's all pretty looking stuff. And then we've got the splash pad. This came about during the public engagement portion of the project, and it was requested that maybe something could be done for the toddlers and whatever that don't actually swim. And it's now in and up and running, and they are loving it. So now we go into the actual pool house upgrades. That's the existing floor plan. You can see the light blue is the men's locker, showers, and 2 toilets. And that peach color is the women's lockers, 4 toilets and showers. And the center is for the employees. We're going to change it around a little bit, leave the employees all in the center, but now the locker rooms are going to become individual changing stalls. instead of just a big room with benches. We're expanding on the number of toilets as we can. We put a corridor through straight to the pool from the entrance, instead of having to go through locker rooms. And then right by the pool entrances, you'll see on the left is a family use toilet, and on the right is a family use changing area. Just for those situations when a mom's there with her little boy and doesn't know which room to go into, now they've got the facilities to take care of it. We're going to update the interiors, stick to a color scheme that you'll see later on with the stadium itself so that the property all becomes conducive. And then the locker rooms with the private changing areas. What we did do is took the showers, the interior showers out, and there's now 4 shower banks on the outside of the building by the pool. So as you come out of the pool, you can walk up to the wall, shower off before you come inside. And we've also added at each end a bank of lockers so that they can lock up their valuables while they're in the pool, but still be able to see the lockers and know that nothing's going on.
No interior shower?
No interior showers, just the ones on the outside of the wall. There was 4 shower heads in that interior shower room, which has now become our family toilets and family changing areas. And we moved the showers outside. So that brings us to the rest of phase 2 for the project. Electrical upgrades, the grandstand repairs, the press box renovations, and the master plan site work, which is extensive. There was potential design alternatives that went through review, replacing the scoreboards and controls, putting restrooms on the visitor side of the stadium, new concession stand area, resurfacing the track and replacing the turf, which is now 12 years old, I believe. Relocating the basketball court because we're expanding the practice area. There's that big hill that heads up towards Forsyth Park, and then up at the top of the hill is a basketball court. Well, we're excavating that whole hill out of there and making a big practice green down at track level, which means we have to relocate the basketball court and adjust that road that goes around that access road, the perimeter access drive, and all that stuff. And then the new entrance gateway improvements, when you first come into the stadium, there'll be a ticket area gateway on the visitor side of the stadium. Instead of all the way to the back of the stadium, everybody will enter through that point, which the school is very excited about because the visiting teams get to go straight to their visitor bleachers and don't have to go through the whole stadium and the rest of the school to get to where they need to be. So there's the site plan itself, an aerial view. And you can see there's nothing on that property that isn't going untouched. Everything is going to be new. The access drive all the way around the stadium. The school wants to be able to pull buses behind the grandstand, be able to load the teams right into the buses and get them off the property as soon as the game is over. So doing that roadway, you can see down at the bottom right-hand corner, that light gray area, that was the existing hill. That whole area is now going to get leveled to track level and become a practice green and multi-use area for the stadium when other things are going on.
So where the basketball courts are right now on that hill,
Yep,
that's going to
that's
be.
going to all be dumped down and brought down to stadium level.
Now, where's the basketball court?
The basketball court, I'll show you in a couple slides, but we have found out what we believe is a really nice solution. And it'll be up at the top end of this picture where that new road is going out to Hurley Avenue.
I had a couple of questions.
Yep, sure.
So the interior showers are moved to the exterior.
Yep,
And are they open?
they're open air. There's a fence screening, but it's just to take you, when you've got your wetsuit on and stuff, it's just to get the chlorine or whatever.
So it's different than if you were indoor and people were.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just like a beach shower
Okay.
when you're down at the beach kind of stuff.
And with the lowering of the basket, the moving of the basketball court, the lowering of that area, that exterior walking track that people use, is that? going-
That access road
Right.
is now being called Severin Drive. That will still be up high.
Really?
Yep, so as you can see, it goes around the whole outer area, and then you've got that new line of trees down at the very bottom right-hand corner.
And what is that? Where is that?
And then you've got all new parking that's being extended.
Yeah,
So right now, the basketball courts sit over in here, and that hill goes way over here. So all of this is being excavated out. The new road will go all the way around.
so the new road where the old road went around the back of the
Right,
stadium.
around here
And between
is
the
being pushed down this way.
stadium and the basketball court, now that's extended out further. And the transition from Forsyth Park.
There will be a staircase now, that there'll be a crosswalk across, and then a staircase going down to the stadium level from Forsyth.
So people could leave Forsyth as they do now, or.
Yep.
Or ride their bicycles or walk around the track and just walk straight.
Yep. Yep.
Can you drive through the gate there? Because there was a gate right by,
No, this won't be,
that.
that won't be
have
traffic.
that.
It won't
Okay.
have traffic back there.
Okay.
So you come in the main entrance, you can come around, there's all of this extended parking that's now being added up there. And then our buses can go behind the grandstand and be able to exit. the park.
So that road, even where it's smaller, it looks smaller there, that can accommodate a bus
Yep.
driving through.
Yep,
So where will people be able to walk, you know?
well, of
as
course,
far
the
as
track
exercise?
itself is always accessible.
Okay,
And during the day, when there's no traffic, when the buses aren't running, this whole access road
okay,
will now become a
So
walking
it's open
loop.
as it is now.
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Now you got your full life. Oh, no.
Is there gonna
What?
be some type of accessible ramp or something going from the Forsyth to Stadium?
The accessibility would be to actually use, if you're coming down from Forsyth and you want to get, you would use this road to get down to this point. And now there'll be all new accessibility and ramps into the grandstand at both ends of the grandstand.
So you wouldn't have to go all the way.
Exactly. One of the exciting things, may come up on the next slides, is what we're actually doing to the grandstand. Everything that's exposed up there is getting resurfaced, all new seating is getting put in, all the concrete repairs are being made, spans and joints, all the masonry needs to get repointed. We're replacing all the railings, replacing all the concrete copings, and adding handrails at the steps that go up to the bleachers. As you can see, that's what exists there now. So anything we do is going to be
Yeah.
Yeah, that-
Goodness. that looks
That's
bad.
rougher than I remember.
It's bad.
So all of this concrete wall, work that's in front of the stadium now was added on 15, 20 years ago when they created that new ramp that went up to it. That's all going to come out. We're taking that all out, and what we're proposing gets replaced is a much new, brighter looking aluminum facade, with the aluminum walkways and the aluminum ramps and everything to get up to the grandstand.
And the funding for all of this is.
Funding is my very last slide. But yes, everything, the mayor has made it an issue, and everything is currently bonded. And myself and grants management are currently writing 2 different grant proposals to help offset what is being bonded.
Does that include the resurfacing of the turf?
Yes, that's another grant that we'll be going after. We've already got grants for the green infrastructure, for all the parking and site work. The grant that I'm currently writing is to be able to do all of that excavation work for the practice green, to do the press box, and to do the track and field. That's the grant that I'm
And
going.
and I asked this because, I'm not paying, but, I asked this because historically, there's been issues with the resurfacing, and we, the people, have kind of forgotten about it after it's done, and then 10 years later, it becomes an issue, and it's a large, extremely large ticket item.
It's not cheap.
Million.
We had an hour and a half Zoom meeting today with the company that did the original work. And we went through all the points and problems. And they're putting together their proposals to do an absolute total resurface of the track and the turf.
Great.
With all new upgraded, the new hydro stuff that they're using.
Yeah, stuff.
I had quite the lesson this morning.
Okay.
So the other thing with the grandstand, the electric. It's a waste zone up there, so all the electric's being done. All of the lighting will get replaced with LEDs, emergency and exit lightings, the security system, and then the controls for the outside field lighting and stuff will all be redone and new to meet codes. The press box, we're going to update all the finishes, put in new countertops, create a new access ladder to the roof of the press box, put an actual press awning over the press box so they can put camera equipment and stuff up on the roof and be able to broadcast from up there with new video controls that will go through the whole stadium so that both visiting side and home teams can do their videoing.
Will that be inside the actual stadium rather than on top?
Inside,
Well, I'm thinking safety issues if somebody climbing up on top.
right, it's going to be limited access to the audiovisual people only. It's a ship ladder that'll get them up onto that rooftop over the existing press box. But at least it'll be roofed and covered, and the back three sides will be fenced and shielded. So this is a layout of what was there. You see the access ramp that comes up to the one side. What you see in turquoise, we're widening all the steps going up to the grandstand, putting a handrail up the middle. I had a request from both the school and the mayor that we look at trying to replace the seating with bench type seats that have backs. Unfortunately, the slope and the rise and run of this grandstand doesn't give us the room to provide that size of a seat. But what I have looked at, and I'm starting to sketch it up for our architectural team, is that this area right in front of the press box could become a VIP section. And those would be ones that have backs on them just for those 7 or 8 rows right at the 50-yard line. We'll see if we can accommodate that. What you're seeing in the middle, that notch with the 2 doors, that now is going to become a tunnel from under the grandstand, from the locker rooms, so that the teams can exit the tunnel and go straight to the 50-yard line of the field. Which is why we had to look at ADA compliancy, because the only ramp was there. Once you put in the tunnel, nobody can get to here. So now we're doing ADA compliancy from both sides of the grandstand. We'll see the floor plan.
It just gets to go.
So here's what's happening. It's renovating the locker rooms, enlarging the public toilets, which were way undersized, doing a lot of the site work drainage, placing all the plumbing and fixtures, updating the HVAC and furnaces, and replacing the lighting and sprinklers. This was the existing floor plan. You've got the light turquoise there is the visitors' locker rooms and showers. You've got 2 small bathrooms to the left, men's and women's. That gray blue was the home team's lockers and showers. And then the far right was all general purpose storage, electrical, and mechanical areas. The light gray in the front there is all under the bleachers and has limited access for a little bit of storage, but we're going to try and utilize that. By the way, that's what the inside of the locker rooms look like today. So this is the new floor plan. We're moving into that area under the bleachers that still has the headroom. We're enlarging both the locker rooms. We're swapping them around. So the home team will now be over on turquoise with that mustard colored room next to it, which will be an athletic training room. I'll show you a picture of that coming up. You can see the entrance door in the middle, go straight down the hall and the doorway out to the tunnel. And then the visitors' locker rooms are on the other side, expanding the bathrooms and also providing personal changing stations as need to be. And then the bathrooms men to the left and the women's room to the right have become huge, as they needed to be for the number of people that are in that stadium. This is the color scheme that we're looking at. When our interior designers came down and first presented it, it was all reds and golds. And I went, you do realize Kingston High is maroon, not red. Well, red's clothes. I'm like, yeah, no. I says, we've got too many other competing teams in the area that are red, and we're not gonna, we'll do our whole stadium for them, so. So this is now gonna be the interior. That's that back door that comes in to the main entrance hall of the stadium, passes right on through, and those are the doors that go out to the field. This is the athletic training room, which would have a big ice maker in it for when the athletes come in and need to get iced down. There'll probably be a couple ice tubs, so forth. And those are the new bathrooms, much larger, much brighter. As of right now, those bathrooms are still scheduled to remain open 24/7. So we're making sure that we're gonna have safety things up there, easy to clean, easy to maintain. There was some other finishes earlier provided that I said, no, we've got somebody that decides to move in there for the night. We need to be concerned about that.
Yeah.
So, camera.
Well, you can't put cameras in the bathroom, but we can have them on the door.
All right.
Yes,
Yeah, we can see
okay.
people come and go.
Are people spending the night there?
They have been, yes, we have taken people out of there.
Okay. Yes,
Unfortunately.
yes.
There's the locker rooms. The school, we went through several different styles of lockers, and this is just an open equipment bench type locker. Because no one's really having any of their own lockers, it's a come and go kind of thing. They come in with their equipment and they plop it and they take it with them when they leave. So it allows for a lot more openability, movability. You'll see that we've taken out the flat ceilings and we're following the level of the grandstand with a coffered ceiling and putting all new high windows on the back of the building, bringing natural light down into these locker rooms. One of the things the school asked for was the big locker room is fantastic, but if they want to do an offense and a defense type meeting at the end of a game or at halftime, we have a movable partition that they can divide the locker room into two sides and have separate type meetings and review and so forth during the middle of the game. The school has been working with us very well about asking for things but not demanding, and then we try to do what we can do with it. So then that's pretty much the concept of the grandstand. The new gateway improvements, we're going to clean and grade and redo, putting in all new underground storm structures and piping, all new curbing, brick walls, cast stone, landscaping, signage, benches, bicycle racks, ticket building that'll be roofed, and then the memorial area, because it is Deeks Memorial Stadium, and there's a very nice memorial there that we want to maintain and keep. And when you walk around the project, there's bronze plaques everywhere for everybody. And so all of them will be saved, and I think we'll be able to do a real nice memorial park on the property. That's the footprint of the grandstand. So you see the track off to your right. The main parking lot is down at the bottom of the screen. We'll have buses for both home and visitors. Everybody comes in. There's a little ticket building in the middle, with a roof over the whole thing, gated entrance, landscaping, benches, seating, and the visitors go straight up to their bleachers, and the home team goes around the bottom of the track to get over to grandstand. That's a concept of what that entrance gateway will look like. Whether it'll have flags on top, we're not sure. But again, you've got a ticket booth dead center. They open up the gates, coming and goings, but yet you're still protected. So the concession stands, we looked at them in several different ways. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see what's existing. And then there was a small administrator building, office building in front of those. Both of them are coming down. And to the left is the replacement process. The building portion of it, the enclosed portion of it will be closest to the parking lot. The back side of that will be the referees' lockers and bathrooms, so that the referees can come in from the parking lot, get right into their facilities, be out of the crowd. And didn't know that was an issue, but I guess sometimes it has. And then the front section that you're seeing with the windows would be concession. This particular picture only has one bay of a covered roof. We're bringing it out 2 more bays. So there'll be a lot more covered area for the stadium users. And we're making it food truck accessible. So food trucks will be able to pull up to each bay and be able to serve right to the concession stand from food trucks. Of course, the track and field replacement was an alternative, but it is now fully in the plan. It's time. We can get maybe 1 more football season out of it this year, but then it's time to do it. And then the scoreboard was also an option, but we've taken it on. Up at the top left is the existing scoreboard. And there's a couple and the one that seems to be impressing everybody is the Megatron to the right. I can see movies under the stars, all kinds of stuff.
I think I'm gonna start playing football again. Coming out of retirement. Coming out, only
So the basketball court,
for a quarter.
that was one of the design alternatives that we looked at, and this is the one that has really made a lot of sense with the rest of the property. Your main entrance into the stadium is off there at the bottom right. So you're coming in from Grandma Brown Lane here. The big gateway is down here in the track and field. This is main parking, and then there's another road going out to Hurley Avenue. This is a city-owned lot that right now has about 14 parking spots in it. So we're going to make that part of the stadium. We're going to create this access lane out. It's going to be 2 lanes. So during the day, it's in and out. But at the end of a football game or at the end of a soccer game, it'll be policed and it'll be 2 lanes out, get to Hurley Avenue and get off the property. The 2 neighbors, I've already met with them. This new business, they've done a beautiful job on the old monument structure that was there. They've got a gallery and a pottery studio. They were disappointed that they weren't going to have access to a big parking lot right behind them any longer. But this is where we're looking at putting the basketball court. It'll be partially fenced so that their business doesn't get disturbed. They do have 2 egress exits out of the back of the building. Our property line is 6 inches from their wall. So we've agreed to put in a sidewalk back to those 2 doors, but we'll come up with an agreement for them that they've got to maintain it. You know, it's their sidewalk. It's our sidewalk, but it's for your use, so you keep it maintained and don't tell us we got to come shovel it for you. And they're losing parking here, but we've decided to give them a curb cut through here. And if they want to put 4 or 5 parking spots on their property, at least they can still have access to additional parking. This business here is now Black Eyed Susie's. Another great place. I loved it when it was up in Saugerties. I haven't been since they moved. They have 7 or 8 parking spots here. The new plan is to keep them. Let them 7 spots stay. There's plenty enough room for traffic and still have pull-in parking so that they don't lose those important parking spots for that business. This business here has all this other parking, and they actually have an egress/ingress parking easement on file for our property. So it's been several meetings we've been through, and I believe by giving them this, giving them the curb cut, cleaning it all up and making it pretty, they're going to be happy with it. These spots down here are going to be EV for the electric cars. There'll be plug-in stations.
which everybody's excited about because it's close to uptown. They can come in, they can park their car and go shopping and whatever while it's charging. And it gives us another service. So that, I think, is the perfect answer for our basketball court. We're excited to see it because now it's out in front. Everybody that comes to the stadium sees that there's a nice basketball court. There's going to be benches around it and so forth and so on. And it's not tucked up back in that, up on that hill.
How many EV charging?
Right now, I think we're planning on 4. Two and two. There's a high end and a low end charging. There's differences that I'm learning. There's going to be 2 of each.
One basketball court.
One basketball court. Yep. Full size.
Yeah.
We had looked at putting it over by the pool house. But if we went over there, it would have had to been shrunk down because it was rock wall and stuff.
Any benches or anything near there?
At the basketball, absolutely. There'll be at least 3 or 4 benches on the sidewalk side and then 2 more benches over on the neighboring property side. So that brings us down to time frame. Where are we at? What are we doing? We are on schedule as of right now.
You can see that the bidding phase of the pool house and the design approvals, and we're supposed to go notice to proceed. And we're right on track with that. As soon as my plumbing bids come in on August 2nd, I'll be going to contract with the 3 primes and giving them their notice of award. And then as soon as the pool closes, August 28th, they'll get their notice to proceed, and we're going to ask them to be on site by September 19th. And then they've got until next May to get it done, because then we're going to be ready to open the pool for the next season. The rest of the design approvals for all of the field house renovation, the site work, and so forth, it will take us right on into the beginning of the year. The school has agreed for the stadium to be shut down in November, the end of their football season. And then we've taken and closed it off for a year and 3 months of construction. They're going to have, next season, they're going to be out about having a lot of away games. Not happy, but they understand what the outcome of the project is going to be when it's all done. So hopefully the approvals, the designs and everything get done by the end of the year. January, February, we start going out to bid. The bid process for all the different prime contractors and so forth will go on. And we end up with a notice to proceed on construction March of 23 and run through till March, April, maybe May of 24. And that's our time frame. The end of the time frame, that shows you how it brings us right up until March or April of 24. And there's the monies.
Oh.
The total project cost at this point is $18,628,622. We've already received $5 million in fundings from the DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative, from the DEC, and from Parks for the green infrastructure. So that leaves a balance of $13,628,622, which the mayor has bonded, or I should say the common council has bonded. And now it's our job, grant management, myself and the rest of the team, to start finding those other grants that are out there to cover this so that we don't have to use the bonding if we don't have to.
That's a lot of.
But the good thing about the city taking this on and authorizing the bonding means we don't have to stop now. We know that the money's there. We're going to work our best to find it from elsewhere, but we don't have to stop and say, well, let's wait until we get this grant. We already know that we've got it. We're going to move forward with it. We're going to make it happen. I'm excited. And that was the short version of that big presentation. Questions and answers and discussions, and I think we filled them in pretty well as we went along. I appreciate you letting me be here and bring you up to speed.
That's a
It's impressive.
presentation, yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun. sat around for 2 years twiddling my thumbs. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And then this came in, went to the interview with the mayor and with Lindsay. They told me that they had 20 applicants for the job, and I was by far the best applicant. So I'm hoping to be able to get her done.
It's quite impressive.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Wow, it changes the game.
Yeah. Yes.
This will put Deep Stadium back on the map.
That was a good
Yes.
question that I had. I mean, the place.
Right,
Because
again.
at one time it was, and then,
Yep.
it fell out, and
Right.
new ones came in. But
One question, has anything, is being lit by like solar, do you have any solar panels involved with any of this?
Julie Noble, who is our sustainability person here in the city, is looking at this extensive. She, as a matter of fact, has a full array of solar going on top of the Andy Murphy Neighborhood Center right now. When that gets done at the end of next week, that building will be off the grid. We will have enough solar energy provided to feed that building for the year. The next step for that building is to try and put battery banks in the basement so that we can generate electricity if the power goes out in the city and really use it as a shelter should it be needed. And that'll be the next step. But the Julie has got folders and folders of ideas and projects all across the city that she's going to be plugging solar for. And I'm sure this will become one of the. Unfortunately, there's not much land left.
No.
Once we get done with everything, we're using up pretty much every square inch.
Well, for the people of the city to be able to use something, I think, that's what the land is.
Yeah.
For.
Well, it's got an amazing history. The old fairgrounds that they used to call it back in the 20s. Eventually, I remember going to the demolition derbies that used to be there on Saturday nights.
Babe Ruth, Josh Gibson, those guys all played.
Remember that?
Yep. Very exciting to see it get turned around.
The cost is always trouble, I'm cheap. So,
I'm driving a 12-year-old car with 250,000 miles. I hear you.
I was looking at the cost, and it's being bonded at 13.5 million. But it comes out to about $850 per person, per citizen, resident. And, so is there a prediction or an estimate on how much of that would be covered by grants?
Now-
Because the rest is going to have to come from somewhere. And that would be from the residents.
That has not been predicted yet. I'm just starting to get into the grant application process. I've never done grant writing before. So it's a new, fortunately, we've got a great team here with Ruth Ann and Natalie, who just got brought on board. And it's a story writing endeavor because you got to really sell it in order to get it. And this is an easy one to sell. The other one that I'm writing at the same time is the mayor has asked me to find a place to put a skate park. So we are looking at the unused tennis court down at Lower Hasbrook. It's 12,000 square feet of space down there. And a very
It doesn't
nice,
get used that
doesn't get used at all. So I'm writing a grant with the Office of Parks, Rec, and Historic Preservation, trying to get $500,000 for equipment and construction, and put a skate park in the city, which is something we don't have. Again, he's trying to find the things that the city wants and needs.
I hate to see the tennis courts go.
We've got
If they're not using
We've got a lot more tennis courts around town than people realize. The other project that I'm working on is Lauren Park. There's 2 tennis courts and 6 pickleball courts up there. Those pickleball courts are used constantly, and they're gotten to the point of disrepair. So I had scoped out the work,
came up with the numbers to just redo the pickleball courts, all new fencing and so forth. And the mayor says, you know what? If we swap, put the tennis courts where pickleball is and put 8 pickleball courts where the tennis courts were, we still have tennis and we still have all the room and we get more pickleball and everybody's happy. So I had to stop what I was doing, flop the plans and look at a new project. So as I said to Mom, the 20 projects that I got going.
Does anybody here play tennis? Anybody? play?
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you, Travis.
Anybody in pickleball?
Oh, no.
By the way, I'm going to shut up and let you guys get your business.
I have to go around.
Coming in at 6:30.
Here.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll let you finish with your business.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much for the
Thank
time.
Thank you for your thorough presentation.
So, we need to vote. Let's take a vote on the Golden Hill Housing Development work fee recommendation. Is everyone,
What is
Read
the
up
new
on-
summarize?
can I summarize that for you? The way I understand it is that, at each time there's some new development going up in the city of Kingston, I believe that there's a fee attached to it for recreational use for people who, well, I think the first 4 units are not,
Yeah, I think it's 5 or more.
something like that, yes. And so the fee that is recommended, I think, is $3,000 per unit. How many units were in this? 160? 106, okay. And this is money that will go into into the Parks and Recreation Fund, to upkeep, I believe, all of our existing recreational facilities.
Do you know? I mean, I don't. Is that $3,000 per unit, is that a standard?
I believe that it is, yes.
I know that there was some, that it was in there, I didn't know if it was an exact amount. I
Yes,
thought it was any project over 5 or more,
okay,
maybe more than 5. This is 100, this is well
Yes.
beyond that. And then the money would then be in,
it would go into the Parks and Recreation, I believe, we have a fund.
Fund.
Yeah, we have a fund. And so that money, the way I understand it, goes to, keep
provide
everything,
service.
and keep everything upgraded. So we need to,
I would
also,
like to make a motion
yes,
that we accept the proposed dollar amount for the 100+ units for the recreation fund.
I can second that.
That we accept the proposal, the recommendation to accept it, that we would get the approved dollar amount per unit for the 100+ unit project.
Oh. And I second.
But we don't know the amount yet, do we?
That's why I said the approved amount that, that we.
Yeah, we don't know what the total. But I believe it's 3,000 per unit, so,
Right. But we wouldn't be negotiating that dollar amount.
No.
no, we're just approving that.
By the powers that be.
It's only a certain number of units, if you don't get it times 106. Is that right?
The way I understood was that like the first, I think, 4 units were exempt from, from that.
Right,
3,000.
and I don't know if there's a cap at 50.
Right.
Yes,
But whatever, it's a project that appears to be going through.
Yes.
And would we accept that money?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Recreation fund.
Yes.
And I would think, yes.
Right.
But the other choice is not accept it, because we don't get to choose whether it happens or not.
Correct.
It's just whether or not we want the money. I think
So,
recreation could use this.
Yes.
yeah, for sure. And so, All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposing it? So we will accept the motion to accept the recommendation fee.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Right, so, and that's done, unanimously accepted. All right, thanks. Old business is the Ken Bryant basketball court ribbon cutting. It says assignments. So,
Oh, so I have, yes, I have some suggestions, I guess. So they recently put out the promotion on Facebook for this event coming up, and it was a really great response, which was nice, and we just expected for
Right.
such a big person.
that's right.
So we currently, for the entertainment that's coming, which is the DJ, and we have, Joe's been doing some food.
We got, I'll
Yeah,
take
we
that.
take her, and then there's also a person coming, Michelle, she does a treat, she's at the Calabasas Park dedication. They're scheduled for an hour, but I'm thinking if we have people coming to speak, and I'm not sure if we have a bunch of people, I don't know like that format or layout, but it could, can assume maybe like a half hour of speaking. The amount of people that we could probably anticipate coming, I think it would make sense to have them there for a longer amount of time. So I just would propose that we could maybe push it to, 2 hours at least, and cover that, what they need for their services.
Because usually at functions like that, I think there's going to be some dignitaries, right? You know,
Yeah, I'm sure the mayor will be there.
the mayor and,
Probably Michelle and G.
Yeah.
yes.
So,
And so you're saying that you think that we'll need only about 30 minutes for them to speak and then,
well, I'm just
An hour and a
saying
half
that
for
I
options.
don't know how long it would take, but some, usually they're pretty brief with speaking, so I'm just guessing a half hour, 45 minutes,
Right.
20 to 45 minutes.
Mhm.
But if we're having the music and the treats, which I know a lot of the kids would enjoy and adults,
Right,
I think it would make sense to have them there for a longer amount of time because we wouldn't, people, if they were speaking, they wouldn't be able to listen to the music and they wouldn't be able to really enjoy there'd be a lot of commotion with getting the treats and everything. So I just think it would make sense to, because they are being paid for their services,
Right.
to extend it to 2 hours instead of 1 hour.
now, what was the last person that you said? You said there's DJ,
Yes.
there's DJ music,
And then-
you're providing some food?
Yeah.
Okay,
How many
and then,
people do?
Well, it seemed there was a good response on Facebook. It seems that I know there were at least last time I checked, there were 40 something shares of the flyer with lots of responses to those shares.
And was there-
15 or more people liking and saying that they're going to come, leaving comments. So we can probably anticipate, 75 or more. I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but it seems that there would be.
so what time, was there a time on there or a time
It's supposed
frame?
to start at
I have to
4.
see it, I haven't.
It just said 4
Yeah.
o'clock, it didn't say 4 till 6.
Okay, so, okay.
Which might be a good idea, because, if you leave it longer, open-ended, then people will think, oh, I can just come, at 8 o'clock, and, it's more towards the beginning, so.
Yeah,
But I think at least if we have those things there for that amount of time.
46-ish.
Yeah, I think.
It's 4 to 6, yeah.
Whoever stays
Six to
after
eight.
that, they just stay in and talk. But, because do we have a I think it would make sense to have some type of outline, so just so we're aware who's
Welcoming.
gonna speak. Yeah.
yeah.
Public officials speaking, private.
Lindsay also said the family might want. I don't know.
Yeah, let's say
Anybody want to
might
do something
say
with the
something.
family.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of elections
Yeah, so they
that are
probably
going
want
on.
to stop
and they
by,
want-
buzz through.
Well,
Yeah.
it's an
If there's
opportunity.
people there.
But I'm sure even just members of the community, people who played on his basketball team or just live
Wanna say
around town
something?
might want to say, I'm sure somebody from our commission is going to speak. So,
I'm not gonna be here. That's, what was the date, July?
22nd.
the 22nd, July 22nd, so Friday, 4 o'clock.
Well,
The 19th.
Because I know him, I shared before that he was is, my cousin, of course, I know him in that capacity, I haven't been on the commission while he was on the commission, but I did benefit from the programs that he was, part of.
Right, so you may want to.
Yeah, so you're the commissioner.
It's not from everybody.
And Joe,
Ron,
Yeah.
Oh, Ron, right.
Joe has, has worked very
Yeah.
close with him as well, so.
It could be a couple of us here.
That's right.
But I think it would be good, to have that, so we know, like, the mayor
What to
probably say
say.
something, somebody from the commission, somebody from the family, just so we have an anticipated.
Yeah, it's a soft schedule,
Good agenda.
30 to 45 minutes of speaking.
Right.
That
The
one.
one on the left.
And then
There. Wait, the plaque, Lindsay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah,
she'll talk to her and see
Yeah.
what the,
Give it to us, present to the family, but then.
Right.
And then we'll have the sign put up, so I'm sure people want to take pictures. You should maybe have some type, I'm sure one of us, but like some type of balloons or, just to like show that there's something happening here. That happened to me recently, I drove by Block Park and there was something I didn't know. And I saw balloons and there was a whole like event happened that was open to the public. and I didn't
Yes.
know, so even just
Yeah.
that.
balloons are always, something that says.
So what
going
I
on
think
here.
Lindsay may have talked about it, just a little canopy tent or something.
And that'd be good, just for the food and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's for-
Maybe I'm, not.
That makes sense. No, you're right, that makes sense.
I'll write that down.
And you don't-
It's
the weather's
sitting.
on.
And I was gonna say that, the weather aspect of it, in case if it rains,
Yeah.
maybe you should bring it uptown to the midtown,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so-
okay.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Right, inside.
if it rains, we'll go, maybe get scheduled, so it's, instead of going there,
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
green site or something.
we don't change the date no more,
We don't.
that's enough.
Right.
And the good thing, we had the pavilion to in case of like a lights while we're there, something was to, we
Oh, yeah.
had that to run under, but I think it's good to have a rain site too. So that way, like you said, we don't have to change any more dates. It's been a while.
Because once you're there, then you're there.
Yeah,
Then, yeah, if it rains, be there, so,
yeah.
But if it's
But-
like a torrential downpour in the morning, then, that
Yes.
becomes something.
It's predicted,
Yeah.
so. we
Right,
can
and just
be
say.
there.
put signs up, whatever,
Right.
we can put signs up,
Or
say,
On Facebook or
Facebook,
something.
You know,
Right.
a rain location.
Right.
don't confuse
Flyer
people.
needs
Yeah.
to be-
Right, right.
Occasion.
Well, they can just probably put it up on the Facebook with the flyer.
Right.
and post it in the rain date or
Or
rain
on the
site.
Right.
4 to 6.
In case of a torrential
Worst
downpour.
But we're hoping that.
Sunny one.
Yeah, it's gonna be sunny.
Oh, yes, it has to be that. So It's got to be shining on this day.
I don't think we should say rain site. I think that if it rains, we should say, Midtown, like we should say. You know what I mean? If we on the premises at that
We're
time,
gonna keep on going.
we're gonna
Right.
keep going. If somebody feel that they're wet, then right there on the premises, you can go on the rain site would be go underneath we get time right there. That'll confuse people.
Uh-oh.
You understand?
I
Right, that it's
understand what you're
raining
saying. How
at
do we,
that
how do we
time.
say that so that?
So
they're not
maybe you
confused?
just keep it where it is.
Keep it, just say if it
Just say
rains,
Oh,
rain site,
Okay, so
3
rain to
days,
shine.
torrential downpour, then you post it on Facebook. But
Right.
because me and 4 other people will
Would
be up
start to
here.
go and
You
then,
know,
right, you're
because it
just
might
saying,
rain.
and then no one's,
So you're saying if it's already a rainy day, then we'll be at the Murphy Center?
I wouldn't even say that. I
right,
mean, because you would confuse me, like.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you just leave it where it is, and then.
here's the date, the 22nd.
it's right here.
It's here.
Mhm.
If it rains, it's here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or you could say check Facebook for us.
Check, yeah, that's even,
Something like that. Just repost.
just make it simple, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're talking
Or
flux,
check by, you could say check
Yeah.
Facebook by.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, sprinkle.
Pretty
you know,
Right.
sprinkle, we stand right there, get your umbrellas, get your
Right.
boots.
Bring a boat.
It's been a long time.
Pipes.
Yeah.
Kayak.
It's been years, right?
It has been.
Yes. So, okay, so I can, when When is Lindsay back from vacation? Do we know?
Next
Okay.
week, Monday, Tuesday.
Monday. Yes, I think. I don't know.
Conversation with her, just.
Right.
Okay.
I'll let her know, what we discussed today, so. Okay. So, I think the main thing that it was, any more discussion on that?
No.
I think the Raquel one that we had for Raquel Knox, that would be great.
Oh,
I think this would be.
Yes. That was nice. So, election of officers is the next item on the agenda, and I had spoken to Joe.
I want to thank you. I'm serious, for serving as the chair, during, on a regular basis, but during this very odd time, you have been COVIDized. So pretty much. Chairpersonship.
What an experience this
Right,
was, so I thank you all for being patient and helping me through this process.
For a team, and
Yes, and I think that,
who's we going to get?
yeah,
Possibly take this position that, as the new chair.
yes, because I
That,
think,
All right, I'll take it. I didn't said no about 9 times.
okay,
Wait.
so I would like to nominate Joe McDowell.
With Joe-
Be the next
Joe would
chair.
Third.
All
All
right.
Okay,
right.
your turn.
So we have the motion, we have, all in favor, is that?
Yep.
Yes,
Aye.
Yeah.
yes, so.
Congratulations.
Sorry. Yes,
I-
oh, of course you can.
Yes.
Yes, yes, and we're here to help you.
Piece of cake. It really is.
Not the first one I'm doing now.
Okay. So, Joe, I believe that your chairmanship will begin at our next meeting,
In August.
which is in September.
September.
Yes,
So you gotta
September
look-
1st is our next
Right.
meeting.
You do?
Yes.
What about the see to be secretary?
Yes.
Okay.
Nominate, no, yes.
We
nominate.
told her in June, we nominated her.
Right.
Secretary.
Should we?
What you
do
said,
that?
what you said, you want me to say first?
Do you want to do one?
Oh,
She just said that.
Oh, you do? That's perfect.
Lindsay would love that.
I didn't say it, but I probably could have.
She's doing it right now.
Okay.
That would be great. Would you- Oh, we'll nominate.
Yeah, Lindsay will be so happy.
so we'll nominate
Yeah.
Andrea Dassi to be the next secretary of the Board of Commissioners.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, good.
Unanimously,
Oh,
yes.
Actually.
Don't nominate
it's
it.
recorded now. So those
Yes.
are typically minutes.
Right.
Right, didn't she?
Yes.
Yes, minutes are.
So,
Yeah.
Most of
the time, right. Now,
Okay,
Al,
so,
you took it twice, did you? I remember we called you, you were on a business trip and just told you.
yes, that is in San Francisco.
He said,
What? Sure.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
he said, oh, well, yeah.
I don't have a choice.
What did Lindsay say?
What did
It
it
was
play?
it was easier because the minutes are recorded.
So, but we'll have to talk.
Yeah.
I think that's it then. Oh, one other thing, there is and I think Jack had mentioned that there is a Natalie Keiko.
Oh, she's a new person. for
Yes, grants writer,
Grants.
and so she asked if the Board of Commissioners would, support her on her efforts to raise funding for the different areas that they need money for. One is for the upgrades of the Phase 3 at the stadium. The next one is the Kingston Community Skate Park. And also, this is the Kingston Point Wetland Public Access Project. I sent this to people. Did you receive it? Okay. Because I'm not so savvy at, all this hot tech stuff. And then the last was the Midtown BOA plan and applications for designation. What is that? Not exactly sure what that is. But in any case, we support her efforts in that, right? So, yeah, I'll just sign whatever letter she has.
Be a vote or?
I don't know. I don't think so.
She's already hired.
So higher,
But
asking for support.
But, yeah, so we've given letters of support before for different things, and I don't remember us doing a vote on it, but
I think we have to vote on it, on the support, I'm on the support.
Because what I
Accepting-
saw,
I mean, she's hired to do this job.
yeah, and she's trying to bring in some money
You can do it without.
to offset what we as residents would have to pay for some of those things. Exactly. So, okay, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention so that I can let her know that we will support her in her efforts. Okay? And on that note, I think,
I didn't. I was talking to someone recently about the Children's Day Parade.
yes,
And they were saying, asking about, there's a person previously been involved with the planning. And they were asking about the hot dogs and the buns and everything that's been happening at the end of the parade. And they were mentioning that before that Hannaford would sponsor or at least give some type of deal or discount or something when we would have the parade. So I just was seeing if that's still a thing.
I know that the fire
the fire
department,
department used to do it.
yes,
Okay, and I thought that Lindsay said that, the plaza, so Brad Jordan was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm assuming,
And the last few times, it rained, and every time it goes, hot dogs are floating down.
right,
No,
but I'm,
seriously.
like, if they need our help there, you know, somebody would be there. Right, but before it was the fire department.
yes.
Fire department was there.
That Kingston Fire Department, so I'm not sure
So that would
if it's
be,
the fire department, but Lindsay said that
So,
Herzog's was doing it at this time because we didn't have the
Sponsoring
fireworks and we didn't have,
right,
so I'm not sure where we're standing. That's next Friday,
So how
right?
much longer is the meeting I've got to set up for?
Okay.
we're just finishing right now.
Okay,
but
thank
do
you.
we have, like, volunteers to do? Like,
After the parade?
yeah, at the parade,
Well, are we doing the parade? Are we
Well,
a part of it? Like, are we?
we don't march or anything like that, but,
We just show up wherever we're needed to.
oh, you're not gonna be, she used to always help line up.
Yeah.
And then I would be down in the plaza because I'm there.
Yeah,
You know, I would
And
just
I
walk
was-
over.
and I.
So we'll have to
would-
check with Lindsay.
Yeah.
yes.
Very,
That-
right. So maybe they've already made those contacts.
So Lindsay would know.
I don't know, could you connect them or something? That the plaza spot, you know, that, or,
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
As far as I know, yes. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, so we can officially adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting is September 1st, 5 PM, someplace. And,
Okay, thank you, Maureen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, everybody.
Good work.
And this is, if you need business cards, you know, just Jeff left some business cards, so if you want to take his, this.
Thanks, I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'll have a good, yeah.